Welcome back, everybody. It's the wonderful wide world of Pokemon. I am
Yeah.
here. You're all here. I'm Meelz. I'm here, of course, with the Platinum Chanel boy himself, Jeff.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm here with Big
Woo-hoo-hoo.
Luke Thief. Where are we at, sir?
We're I I'm loving the expansion actually.
You're okay. All right. That's a listen. Why not? So, of course, we're back
No, this is
with
good.
this
We got some
episode.
different opinions on this for sure.
This extra episode. First of all, shout out to everybody who supported the original 8 episodes of this season, or this group of episodes, the Kanto episodes where we went over to the gym. Some of our most highest listened and reacted to episodes. So thank you
Yeah,
guys
that's awesome.
for tuning in. And just having fun with it. But yes, we were talking about the Isle of Armor. The Isle of Armor, it dropped, I would say, from the time this comes out, it'll probably be out for almost 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know about ladies, maybe just gentlemen. I was trying to see if any ladies listen to this podcast. Who
There's
knows?
some ladies. You know what? There's some hot ones.
I hope so, man. I hope so.
We are exploring the world of the Isle of Armor. It is
Yeah.
an island off the coast of the Galar region somewhere. I love how they're just like, okay, we're gonna take you to the Isle of Armor. Is there a train that goes there? No, but
No.
meet you at the train station anyway.
It's very
Um,
south.
It shows up, and you end up flying all the way there, and you end up at the terminal, and there, you were at the Isle of Armor.
Yeah.
How do you feel? How do you guys feel about just the general look of this, the Isle of Armor? It's an isle,
So
armor.
my early thoughts getting there. First of all, the first thing that I noticed was actually being able to see yourself flying in. For like, I remember that was like one of the first things that like I thought we were gonna see, which was flying down on the taxi of Corviknight. You know, like
You thought this was Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire flying around in the sky on your Latios type of deal.
Right.
No.
Like the Corviknight thing was a cool idea, being a taxi, and you actually get to see it when you land. That's a cool thing. Visually, I think that I feel like the wild area, and I may be getting ahead of myself just a little bit, but like the wild area this time, I feel like they got it right as far as size and exploring and what it should have looked like the first time. I know, like, from a graphic perspective, it's not like the most groundbreaking video game shit or whatever the case may be, but I do think that they are on the right track as far as like the wild area isn't going anywhere. Like,
But I think you're right. They finessed what they did with the wild area the first time into a
Because
more realized
right.
version.
we never seen it, so obviously we're gonna spaz out over something so cool.
Yeah.
But this time
You mentioned size, Jeff. It's
Yeah.
big, and
it's bro.
if you look at the map, though, it's so funny because like on globes of like real, the real Earth and shit.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
the stuff like isn't actually the size it's supposed to, like,
Right.
because they had to like make it look like it could on a globe. But like the
Yeah.
Isle of Armor is gargantuan on
massive when you
the
get on
map next to the
Yeah.
regular region. It's insane.
Well, I'll say this: if you think this is huge, everything that's been hinted or revealed about the Crown Tundra is that is going to be much bigger than the Isle
Yeah,
of Armor.
that's what I've read.
It
So
is-
it's cool.
There's more cities. There's more things. Not cities. I wouldn't say cities. There ain't gonna be no damn cities there. But there's more places. There's a lot more places to fly to. Everything revealed about the Crown Tundra thus far says it's going to be bigger than this. But you're right. You get there, and it's kind of overwhelming how like you end up and you're like, where the fuck do I go? Like,
Yeah, totally.
Well,
out of
the first thing I noticed that like I popped for was the fucking well lord in the water. That
I beelined for it.
dude, I did too.
Yes.
Like, it was the first thing that I did because I was like, holy shit! Like actually seeing well lord in its actual massive state, its true size was actually pretty cool. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
yeah.
I can't
it
front.
is,
Okay,
it
Jeff.
is sad.
Go ahead.
Sorry, but it is sad you encounter it once.
Once, yeah. I haven't
Ever.
seen it again personally. Yeah, so
It
Yeah,
doesn't show
I
up
haven't
again.
seen another one either.
I caught that one obviously, but it was just
I
really
don't
cool
think
to
I
just
did.
see it. You didn't catch it? No,
Huge,
No, I
huge
don't
mistake,
think-
Meelz. Huge
Yeah,
mistake.
dude.
I don't think I
dude,
did.
I saw it, and like Pat said, I went straight to it. I thought it was cool to see. I actually got attacked by a Sharpedo on the way.
They're
But
impossible to get away from.
I know, but it was a really cool thing. I thought that was like, I just thought it was awesome. Like, you look to the right, I think there's like a few Slowpoke and like King Lear Krabby or whatever, and like Jigglypuff to the left. But yeah, no, seeing the Well Lord there was really sick. And like I said, I think they wanted to make sure that they perfected what they gave us originally as far as the wild area is concerned.
Yeah, I think what's both good and frustrating is that all this stuff is good. Like you get to the new wild area and you're like, oh man, it's really big. I'm not sure where to go. It looks better than most of the stuff from the original wild area. And then you look off in the distance and you're seeing Whale Lord and shit. And it is all awesome, but I think it kind of is a little bit. Oh, and in addition to that, sorry, I don't want to get ahead of myself. In addition to that, it's surprising when you get to the Isle of Armor and you're like, oh, it's a legitimate expansion. Like there really is. Like it's not the biggest thing ever, but I was surprised not only by the size of the area, but we'll get into it more later. The amount of stuff there is to do, which wasn't a ton, but I thought, again, because Nintendo has like basically trained us to expect nothing. I thought it was going to be a lot weaker than it is. So a lot of my praise is like, oh, they did stuff they should have done years ago.
First time, yeah.
But it's still good.
The Isle of Armor for me, in terms of just reaching the island and then exploring it and kind of like seeing what you're doing, all right, so it's weird. There's a couple things to do on the island, but you really have like one purpose on the island, which is like, okay, you go to the dojo and you do everything the dojo guy, Mustard, tells you to do. And you have a little quest, which was fun. It's fun. The chasing the Slowpoke thing. I was like, oh, that's fun. Okay.
Right.
Finding the things. Okay. All right. I get it. But ultimately it's like, okay, this island exists. It ends up, after you complete all of that, it ends up kind of being like this. It might as well be a safari zone at this point because there's nothing really to do but catch the Pokemon and walk around.
Some of it is kind of literally the safari zone, like intentionally so, I think. Like the Kangaskhan and Tauros Heracross area.
Yeah, it to me, there's so much. I think they could have at least made it feel more important by including a lot more, like do a proper like follow-up to all the things that you did in the original title.
Right.
Like, yes, Hop shows up, but like no one asks for Hop, but like of course he's going to show up. He's your link. He's like your rival. He's like, okay, you got to bring something over from the game, but also bring over trainers. Why can't any of the other trainers be like, yo, we're also exploring the Isle of Armor. We learned about this place. We're jumping in this place. Why isn't the chairman or Bede or anybody saying like, I want to know the secrets of Gigantamaxing.
Right.
So I'm going to go, shake down this old Mustard guy and we'll see how it goes. Like I need conflict.
Here's some of my issues with it in total. One, I feel like they would have been better off just giving us both expansions at the same time.
Wow, hot take.
Yeah, I'm just being real, and I mean that in the sense of like I do feel like this was more of a warm up. And it was basically a Cub Fu introduction. Be friends with Cub Fu, do everything with Cub Fu. And it's cool. Like I think he's a cool Pokemon. Don't get me wrong. And
thankfully he doesn't suck.
Yeah, he doesn't suck. I think it's a cool way to introduce a new legendary Pokemon per se. I know me and Meelz were kind of talking about it before we got on. But my issue with this, and this is why I said they should have gave us both. So here's my thing. And I'm getting ahead a little bit. After you do everything you do, he gives you Cub Fu, and you have two different towers, a Dark Tower and a Water Tower. You complete those battles, you get to evolve your Cub Fu. Now your Cub Fu has to be a certain friendship and a certain level. So unfortunately, if you want to get your Cub Fu on level 70 and you've been playing this game, it's not hard. And I say that because I have over 100, 200 large and extra large candies, and I've gotten those resources because they've taken so long to give us this expansion.
Get them.
So, my thing is it kind of defeats the purpose of them wanting you to kind of like go around the island and train your cub fu, because I'm not doing that. My
I
thing
don't think they
was
I don't think they wanted you to do that. I think they had full intention that you were using these candies because there's no trainers on this island to train with. There's nothing. You're
it
not
was
going to
just
send
like
out your level 20 Kung Fu to fight all these level 60 ass Wobbuffets and
and
Polyrats and things.
Mills, I sent you my team. I actually ended up not going in with that team I sent you that I was going to go in with, because obviously I had everybody on level 100. So what I did was I just kind of went around and like picked some of my other favorite Pokemon just to run around with me or whatever. But
I did the same thing actually.
Yeah, because I was like, I don't want to run around with all my level 100s or whatever. So I did it that way. And although the tower stuff is challenging, just doing it with Kung Fu, depending on what level you got them to, it can be, I guess. But you know, one of my favorite things was walking out of the dojo and seeing that I can walk around my fucking Pokemon if I want. I think that was like,
yeah. Except they
like,
need to make them a little faster.
They do. I agree. I have my Mimikyu
Well, who are you
behind me
walking
and I
with, Pat?
dipped on
Who are
them.
you walking with?
I'll be honest. I didn't have any speed demons hanging out with me. Asking Frostmoth to follow me on a bicycle.
Yeah, not realistic.
Yeah, I totally agree. I agree with all of this stuff. I was fist pumping as you were saying this, despite my enjoyment of the game. I would say that I think they should have done something to. I mean, the bad version is they just. They say you can't use anything but the shit we just gave you for the next X amount of, whatever. Yeah. Which that's like intense and the type of thing that makes people bitch. But, it's basically you can't really have it both ways. You're either going to be able to use candies and get it to this point overnight or, over seconds, or you have to create, like you said, there's no trainers. So
you're not training this thing from 10 to 70 on your own.
Yeah, exactly. So they would have had to really create like a lot more. They seem to be encouraging just catching Pokemon with the, because the wild area is so big and honestly maze-like in a lot of ways, which we can talk about later. But I don't think that while I was surprised by how well designed Kung Fu and the evolutions were, and some of the other stuff. One, I'm sick of dojos. Like, create some other form of fake gym for people to be hanging out at. It doesn't have to be like fighting themed for it to be a central Pokemon location. Right. It could be a space station where you're doing this stuff out of, and it would could function exactly the same. I'm a little. I realized as I was playing this morning, like, God, I'm so sick of like not necessarily fighting types, because I think the game has actually never really done them justice. But just gyms or dojos as like fake gyms in general, I just don't.
Yeah. Just give us 4 or 5 gyms or something, like, and just spread them around the island and call it. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, there was definitely other ways to make this like more enjoyable, make it longer. I mean, you can finish everything in about 2 hours, if you really wanted to.
Like, give us Kung Fu and one of the starters that we had to pick, and that would have been it. Like, I don't know.
I also think part of it that bothered me was like, okay, so you have you get Kung Fu, you're able to choose these 2 dojos in a sense. It was like, okay, you have to choose one of them, and the other one you will not be able to enter ever. And I'm like, what's the point of having the second one there? Like, what's the point of having both there if you can only choose one and then you can't go into the other one ever again? So I'm just like, now you just kind of wasted space.
Right. So does anybody know what happens if you like breed your Kung Fu and like you want that one to evolve?
Can you?
I'm just out of curiosity. I really don't know.
Kung Fu. I don't think you can breed Kung Fu. But I mean, people are. If you look on the Pokemon
I got a
home
female.
thing, everyone
Mine was a female.
What? Okay.
Yeah, I got a female.
Yeah, that's weird. Okay.
It was like 11% chance, but yeah, I got a female Kung Fu. So I was like, oh, maybe I can breed this motherfucker.
Let's see. Hatch egg not obtainable. That's at least what Bulbapedia says.
Okay, yeah,
What am
I
saying?
wasn't. I mean, I wasn't sure. So I guess that's so they make it to where you can't obviously run around with a bunch of legends and you have to make your decision. But
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like anything else where you just have to find somebody. Like it's the you have to trade Lugia for Ho-Oh and back.
or
right,
someone's gonna
right.
have to hack one, and you're just gonna have to take it, or something along those lines.
They'll
But yeah,
they'll
Yeah.
I don't
probably do a
give you another
they'll do a
one.
raid. They'll do a raid, and
They're
it'll
like, oh,
be
come get the other one.
the
Come get
Gigantamax
this.
raid for it will probably be extremely hard, and you can run it
Maybe
that way.
for the game that they refuse to announce. But, it's a no. I agree with you, but I didn't like that fact. I didn't like that fact. I just didn't like. I walk around the entire area, and there was like, there's no one to really communicate with. There's no
Yeah,
one
it's
to
just
kind
you.
of like
It's just
battle.
you.
There's not
Yeah.
even
Kind
anybody
of,
selling shit.
yeah. I mean, there's diggers. There's always diggers. Fuck them. But
Mhm.
like, you can't really communicate. You can't build a bond or anything. It's not really a kind of personable. The experience to me lacked by the lack of experience.
Yeah.
Like,
Also, the loading sucks if you're online. The environmental shit is actually worse
yeah,
than it is in the original, I think.
I liked, and even if you don't have a lot of things, at least patch it so it's like, okay, now that you've done this, you've unlocked more stuff on the mainland to be able
Right.
to do.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, I
make there
agree.
an
I agree,
incentive
man.
behind doing everything on because once I'm done, I'm done. Like, like I'm done. I'll be
It's
honest. I
true.
caught all the Pokemon you
Yeah.
need to catch on this island. I
I'm,
battled everybody. Got the Cthulhu.
I'm
Got the thing. I'm
going
looking for
straight to a
Digletts.
live Pokédex at this point. Like, I'm just gonna go for the live Pokédex and just fucking call it. Cause like, at this point, unless you're a competitive player or unless you want to make sure you have all the Gigantamax and you're working on the soup or collect whatever, there's not much you want to really dive into besides finishing the Pokédex or doing a live Pokédex or training for competitive or whatever you're into at that point. It's cool. I would have just preferred they went ahead and just gave them both to us, or at least a month separated. Like, give us this one now and then release the other one the next month. I don't know.
Now, I'll say this. This is where your $15 comes into play and where the value is worth it, kind of depending on how much you actually value the quality of life set updates in this game. Because beyond actual, like, it's like you pay, like, I don't want to make you feel like, oh, I paid $15 for my Pokemon to follow around you. There's
Yeah.
a couple things on this island that you can be able to do. And I think one of the smart things was it's the Gigantamax thing. This was one thing you pay
Definitely.
for. Now you're able to like pretty much make any of your Pokemon that you wanted to be Gigantamax instead of having to do all those raids. So that's a
Gave it to
quality of life
Cinderace
update.
immediately.
Right. The second thing is, and I think it was an important thing, was the Cramomatic. The Cramomatic is very important
It's
based
very
on
cool.
the amount of things that you put in terms of what you're able to get out. So instead of having to mine for BP in the battle tower or stuff like that, if you have, like, for instance, if you have 4 bottle caps, you're able to get a golden bottle cap, which is something that
You need if you're playing like competitively.
you need if you're playing competitively and you want all your high IV things. Like, now you're kind of like, okay, this made my job an entire world easier.
Yeah,
Instead of
definitely.
having to fight a million trainers, I've got all these bottle caps already. Let me just throw them into the Cramomatic and we'll get them.
How has the expansion been received by like the actual competitive community? Have they? Does it really even impact them?
Yeah, it opens it up only
Yeah, it
because
does.
of from the Pokemon perspective, like
Okay,
what they've
yeah,
added.
of course.
So yeah. I mean, teams are just going to like be able to spread out a little bit more. We know about the Garchomps and all those type of things that are like Pokemon that are just added to being able to be used competitively. So yeah, that is probably the one big thing to it if that's what you're into. I mean, it's definitely going to change that type of shit. So it to me, like I said, it's very small. Yes, it's $15. When I look deep down at it, me just being selfish, it could have been free. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things. Now, the way that they're building up, this Crown Tundra, Crown Tundra seems like the one. Like it seems like it's gonna be more massive. I'm not gonna hold my breath or whatever because it could just be another 2-3 hours of gameplay. But I guess we'll see. I know Meelz said it before we actually started the show. The idea of maybe Megas coming back for Crown Tundra. I think that'd be a nice surprise. And I'm kind of with that. We kind of talked about the fact that Pokemon Go announced Megas, and Pokemon never really does anything without making sure it all makes sense, even if it's 2 different platforms. So that'd be cool. I'm okay with that if they give us some new shit. The Slowbro thing, I feel like they teased us with Slowbro, man. Like Cub Fu and Slowbro, in the evolution of Cub Fu, which I'm not sure how to pronounce his name yet. That's a really only new stuff that they gave us as far as like the Pokemon is concerned.
They should have put either the new Reggies
or the
in
birds.
this one, or the new birds.
One
in
of
this
the
one,
two.
Both of them being in the Crown Tundra does me no good.
It does me no good, but it does tell you how long Crown Tundra. I mean, that alone is going to add, another 3 hours to their gameplay. So if they have a regular story, with Crown Tundra, plus the birds, plus that weird big-headed grass fairy thing, and the Reggies,
which according to the data mines and stuff, you're gonna be able to like fuse it with a couple different things for it to become stronger. That's just
cool.
what I've heard.
Cool. I mean, like I said, I'm obviously I want Crown Tundra. I'm excited for Crown Tundra. I want that shit. But this was I would say a little like underwhelming, but I'm not mad at it. I mean, there's still some cool things that, like I said, having a Pokemon walk behind you is like so minimal, but like I don't understand how that isn't just like. I went back to the Galar, like the main region, and like they're not, they don't follow you. It's only on the it's only in the wild area. So
you didn't pay for your pass.
right, which is whatever. Like but it's cool, man. There was definitely some cool things that I just noticed that I enjoyed, and there was things that I just thought was fairly pointless. And one of the things is the fact that we're not getting Crown Tundra until what, November?
Yeah, I think so.
Quarter.
So
fourth quarter, probably around November. So
maybe I'll have my live Pokédex done by then. I'm going for it.
I finished it. This is the most of the Pokédex I've ever finished in any game. So
I want them all, man. I want them all. I'm going for it.
There's restricted sparring in this game. I have not tried it out. I don't think I'm that interested, to be honest with you. Just because it's like, oh, it's this separate thing that again doesn't really affect anything. There's not really, you get BP from it, but it's also like,
I love BP, so I'm gonna fuck with it. But
Cramomatic. But let's see what else. I mean, there's not much else. I mean, there a lot of areas, there's a lot of different Pokemon, a lot of different experiences, but there's not much else. I think so last week, let's talk about this for a moment. Last week, Pokemon said, we're doing a Pokemon Presents.
Yeah.
We're going to do a Pokemon Presents, and we're going to unveil to you some things. Things.
Yeah.
And they're like, and we were like, oh, the things. Pokemon never leaves without surprises. So, of course, we're watching. Pokemon Wake Up and Brush Your Teeth, or whatever the fuck it was. Like,
yeah. Well, man, I don't know.
Pokemon Smile. There we go.
Some of this stuff, not some of it. 90% of that should have just been a YouTube debut. I don't need a press for it.
Yeah.
To me, Pokemon Snap is a big deal. I don't care what anybody says. I think Snap coming back to the Switch is to the Switch is awesome. I'll have it day one. I think it's fun.
It's gonna bring more people back, even more people back.
Yeah, 100%. I think Snap is like an important genre for Pokemon. I think, especially for our generation, that was one of those games. You had Nintendo 64, you had Pokemon Stadium, and you had Pokemon Snap. Period. You know what I'm saying? And you had Smash Brothers. Like, who doesn't remember those games for 64? So, for us to get the Snap on the Switch, I think people have been asking for it. It's a big deal. I'm glad we're getting it. But everything else, especially the stuff that is for kids who are 12 and under or whatever the case may be, Like that could just be a YouTube debut. Just post a link on YouTube. Those people who want to deal with that will deal with it. I don't have kids. If I did, I would fucking use the brush teeth thing just because it's Pokemon. But like,
Yeah,
you
Pokemon
know,
Smile. Yeah,
yeah.
brush your teeth and
I
catch
don't need it.
Pokemon.
Yeah, I don't need
Maybe I'll use it for me.
it. Right?
So you're able to, they introduce Pokemon Smile, which is this game for like really toddler kids to like, get them to brush their teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Then they did the announcement for Pokemon Cafe, which is this other game that's, it's just third-party game, various cute Pokemon, mix it up in the cafe. They did Pokemon Snap, which was the big announcement. Everyone's like, oh, shit, Pokemon Snap.
Yeah.
And then, which I love, by the way, Pokemon Snap. The fact that they brought it back, I was like, oh, that's amazing.
Yes,
it's insane it took this long.
Yeah, the entire video game world currently now is them bringing back titles and everyone being in shock and awe about it. Now they decide, okay, also we're going to do the Pokemon Isle of Armor. Okay, it's dropping now. Here's what you can do. Here's who's going to be in it. Here's where. It's out now. Go and get it.
Yeah.
And then they say, and we have one more special announcement for you
next week.
And everyone's like, bitch. Like everyone's like,
Sinnoh remakes. Let's go.
Oh my god, they allowed it. Don't do this again. Pokemon. I was mad wasn't even the word, but I was definitely mad. But to get people, we're going to reveal this next week on a separate Pokemon Presents, and everyone's like, oh, what could it be? What could warrant its own presents different from the one with Pokemon Smile and Pokemon Cafe
and Snap?
Yeah, what could warrant its own thing? We wait a week, everyone's Sinnoh remix. Let's go Johto, which I hope never happens, but like, let's go Johto.
No more let's
if
go
it happens, it happens. If it happens, it happens, but I don't want it. But let's go Johto. Everyone's thing. You get it? They're like, oh, we're gonna start off with this new game. It's a dual platform. You can play it on your phone, you can play it on Switch. It's called Pokemon Unite. Fantastic. I'm like, okay, this is gonna end in 4 minutes. We're gonna get to the main event.
Yeah.
It was the entire presentation.
Yeah.
The entire presentation was for a game no one asked for. And thus far, let me look on YouTube right now, because they uploaded the video for Pokemon Unite.
Yeah, I mean, I have no interest in it personally. If anything, they may need more time to do whatever that there is that they're working on as far as the main title. I also know that like the Switch itself has like the whole Switch Pro thing, or like the I know the Switch has something coming as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they're waiting for that. I don't know what the actual plan is as far as announcing a new title. I'm sure they want to perfect what they want to perfect, but I have no interest in that game. I don't know why they decided to separate it as if it was going to be something groundbreaking. That was my only issue with it. Yeah, like because they could have tied that in with the same conference with Snap and just say that was it, And I'm like, cool, that's fine,
It
has something that you guys go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I said it has 83,000 likes and 152,000 dislikes on YouTube.
Yeah,
but so disliked.
That comes from how they presented it.
Oh yeah.
They should have presented it with the Snap announcement, and we may not have this issue. But I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm not playing that shit regardless. You know what I'm saying? It just is what it is. It's just not what I desire for, and it's like my whole thing with Pokemon is like they do this whole thing of making sure that they make games for every age category. Well, I think it's time for them to fucking step up and let their fucking balls drop and make a title for the kids who were 7, 8, and 97 and 98. Give us a hardcore title that we're asking for with true difficulty, because you make these games for E or for everyone or for toddlers or for kids, whatever. Then you give us your main titles, the the colors, the Sword and Shield, it's obviously switched up, red, blue, yellow, all that shit. Give us a hardcore title. Give us a hardcore title, not Pokekin, which yes does well in its own division or whatever of a fighting game, but give us something that matters to the people that were there when this shit started. If that's what y'all, if they want to keep running in this whole direction of making sure everyone has something to play, that's all I ask.
I think I agree. Yeah. I'm looking at something from. This is actually from May, I think. I don't know when this is from. But anyway, it cites a 4chan. Sorry to mention 4chan. It cites a 4chan post from August of 2017 that says Gen 8 games will be Pokemon Sword and Shield. So correctly posted in 2017. I don't know when they were officially announced, but that seems pretty far in advance.
Yeah, I think it was.
And then they also said Pokemon Time Diamond and Space Pearl are the other two. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, that seems, I don't know why that would be wrong.
Well, I remember when those leaks came out, it was because of like trademarks. I think they had trademarked a bunch of shit.
Okay.
Like, yeah, because they trademarked stuff super, super early, and that's how kind of people jump on it, because you can search it. And then they'll name the trademark something
stuff they never use.
Yeah,
like that is true.
They just do it because they're like, hey, maybe we'll use this one day. I think Diamond and Pearl is obviously like, I think it's an important thing that they do have to like jump back on and touch before we even get back to. I know people are like gold, silver. They want to see gold, silver in this new setting, but like, I don't know, man. It's like, it's not that I don't want it. I just don't want it yet. And I feel like there's still other things that they need to touch on. As long as it's not a let go format and it's the same format as what we've been getting with Sword and Shield, I'm all for it.
There's also the kind of question of like, they've really like, remakes make a lot less sense when they've made this jump where they're incrementally updating to a full Pokedex on a new console. Like, it doesn't make sense.
It's not a remake anymore.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Just give me a present time Sinnoh then. Like just if that's the case. Like, don't call it a remake. Don't make it a remake. Just, it's present time. I don't know about, like, I know that kind of complicates everything as far as like picking starters and shit of that nature and like the Pokemon that you find, but I don't know, man. They've kind of put themselves in a hole doing remakes because now people want them, obviously. Like,
I would find if there's never another one.
Yeah, I wouldn't trip. I really wouldn't trip.
No, not before Sinnoh.
It just doesn't make sense because of the way they can't like. What, here's like are they going to add a locked Sinnoh Dex into these games? Like, what's the crossover?
Let me say this real quick. I want to say this, and I want to see if it holds any weight going forward. I think that there will never be another Pokemon game that doesn't include the National Pokédex, and I say this because of all the shit that they got during this run for Sword and Shield. Like, I feel like they're gonna make sure that in some fashion, whether it's island hopping, whether it's a DLC, that the National Pokédex will exist and you will have a chance to do what you got to do. Because I just feel like they don't want to. I hope that they wouldn't want to hear what they had to deal with this past time.
Yeah, I mean, they most disliked videos on YouTube every time because of the way they do these announcements. So, I think you're right.
I agree 110% probably. Gosh, yes, all this discussion.
Oh, should we before we split, should we talk about Zeraora?
Zeraora?
Yes, we beat him somehow.
We're all getting the shiny one, I think.
It's not as fun if everyone gets it. But
I know.
Yeah, I
don't mind.
Did you guys fight? He's a hard, he or she is a hard.
Good job.
I believe genderless actually is the.
It is genderless.
So, the Pokemon is pretty hard on the 5-star raids. I mean, eventually you'll get into one that's like 3 Mewtwo's and a Gengar, so it doesn't matter. But it is among the stronger of the 5-star raids that I've done. Did you guys fight a shiny one in public?
I have not. No.
Yeah, I've seen 2 of them. No. I was shocked.
Wow, I've not at all. I
Yeah,
barely get into them.
I saw the one I sent you guys. They are hard to get into. I saw the one that I sent you guys, and then I saw another one this morning.
It's a good
That's
Pokemon.
crazy.
I mean, like I'm not. I like the Pokemon being available because it's one of the best electric types ever.
Yeah. It's
It
you know me,
really is. Like,
too
yeah,
humanoid.
it's really, yeah, I know. Yeah, it's a good Pokemon. And yeah, I know you don't like the humanoid part of it, but yeah, you know, I'm sure. Speaking of the humanoid, did you see Golduck walking around
Oh yeah,
like a grown ass man?
Golduck walks around like Conor McGregor.
He does. He does. He does. But
It's,
yeah, you know.
it's great to see all these Pokemon walking around and thinging around. I think that's kind of when you think of Isle of Armor. I think we all expected, okay, take me to a new part of this game and kind of show me something new about
Right.
this game. Or I think from here on out, I'll be honest with you, they're probably going to do more DLCs. They're probably going to
Of
get it right
course.
next time
They
around.
probably will. They
I
probably
don't think
will.
it's going to be the Crown Tundra thing because they probably, I
I'm
think
sure
they
it's
already have
done.
it kind of set up. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
sure
it's
Crown
been
Tundra's
just
done
set up.
already.
They're like, oh, just ready, press go live. But I think they're going to get
9
it right.
a.m. for some reason.
Yeah, I think they're going to get it right the next time around. They usually always do. I just personally like, if you're going to include this part, give me a reason why to care about this.
I
Like,
get it. I'm very curious to how long Sword and Shield is in rotation. That's my thing. Which it could, because that second announcement for that conference the other day wasn't another core game. It makes me feel like we have like another 2 DLCs coming for this fucking game. Which I mean,
nah,
I'm
no way.
bro. I'm just saying, bro. I mean, I just find it weird that there's nothing. There's just nothing announced. I mean, we're
Okay,
coming up on the fall.
riddle me this: if they do announce, God forbid, if they do announce a Diamond Pearl, I don't know, remake, revisit, whatever the hell you want to call it, I don't think that. I think they are then serving 2 masters. I think that I don't think that frees them from doing stuff to Sword and Shield unless they want to
See, I feel that.
immediately have a
I like that.
reputation. They immediately have
So
a reputation for abandoning a console game after a year and a half if they do that.
So you're basically saying let Sword and Shield still have run, maybe release content for it, but also release this remake. Now, my only issue with that, Pat,
Well, I'm saying they could. I'm saying if they release the remake, they still have to release Sword and Shield content.
Right. No, and I feel that.
If we just got 2 or 3 more Sword and Shield expansions.
I feel that. My issue would be is the Sinnoh remake going to be a Let's Go thing then?
I hope not. God no, please don't.
Yeah, I know.
Whole,
that's my thing. That's my issue.
I think the Let's Go thing came in due to popularity of Pokemon Go, but I think now that Pokemon Go, I mean, in 1 week it'll be 4 years of Pokemon Go, which is insane. Yeah. The fact that the game is still going on and stuff like that. But I think that time is over. They don't need to kind of revisit that. It's kind of what it was, and it was part of the time, and Let's Go was kind of part of that. 2018, we're still kind of building off of Go and stuff like that, so I don't think they particularly need to revisit it. I hope they wouldn't for Sinnoh, because I would be very distraught, because I love the Sinnoh region. I love Gen 4. I love all the Pokemon of Gen 4. I just think they're just designed amazingly. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. Everyone's really hoping for the Gen 4 remake. I love all remakes because I think an updated version of the game just makes you revisit the game. There's no reason for me to revisit Diamond and Pearl right now unless I want to play for nostalgia. But it's like there's so many like life change, quality of life updates that like going back is like it's like going back to the 1970s and be like, damn, phones were this way. Like,
yeah,
who's calling me?
I am playing Ultra Moon right now for Pokemon home purposes, but I'm literally doing it for a Pokedex aspect, which is weird for me. So it's just
trying to do that.
It's a little, you know, I know I've been on my 3DS a little bit, so I just been kind of like fucking around with it just for home purposes.
Yeah. No, I rarely revisit the old games. I rarely do. Something within me is like, okay, I'm ready for the next thing, and that's kind of where I'm at. I'm ready for Crown Tundra already. I don't think I'm going to be playing Isle of Armor much of anything anymore. If anyone needs any trades or something, I might pop it open. But honestly, if I go 2 weeks without opening it, I probably will never open it until Crown Tundra comes back. Because that's just how I operate. It becomes now a chore to open it and see what the hell I got inside and where I was at, and etc.
I have a hard time going back to the old graphics and remembering where I was and shit.
Yeah, me too. I'd be like, "How? Where? I was, of course, I was in the wild area. Why? Why wouldn't I be?"
I'll be on it a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I feel everyone who's going to be playing it a little bit.
I'm just gonna work on a new competitive team. I'll be playing it just for the competitive aspect.
Okay.
And see what I got, but that's about it.
All right, that's respectful. But I don't know. I think we can wrap it up. Our big conversation on Olive Armor. This was really a discussion piece. I had nothing planned. We had no format or anything. Didn't but we just kind of expressing how we feel about this expansion pack and what they could do better and what they could do less of and what they should do more of. But yeah, I mean, thank you guys for tuning in. Mount Silver, as always, this is an episode that just kind of came out of nowhere. So we appreciate you guys listening and taking your time out of your day to listen. You can always follow us at the Lookout RNC on Twitter. You can follow myself at Meelz TV. You can follow Jeff at Old Newsboy. You can follow Pat at Pafifi.
Yeah.
You can follow everyone everywhere and just, I don't know. Talk to us about the game if you like anything about the game, if you dislike anything about the game. But yeah, that is it. Any final words from anybody?
I'm good.
Jeff, any final words?
Water bear.
Jeff is playing the game. All right. With that said, we will see you guys when we see you guys. Take care.
See you in Crown Tundra.
Fair enough. All right. We'll see you guys. Take care.